All right, race fans, we are about to get underway here with a matchup of Rh4kor and ZoneV in the Super Mario Brothers Warpless tournament.
Yeah, welcome everybody. We got a race today between Rh4kor and Zone here. The Haxer and got Spicy Chicken Spicy Boy, who recently raced with us, I think, a couple days ago. So, how you doing today?
Yeah, doing great. Excited for a good race. I'm not sure. I was not able to catch the other races of these runners, so I'm not quite sure what we're in for, but I think it's going to be a good one.
Yeah, I mean, they're always fun to watch. There is a kind of a big gap to an extent between the two's PBs, but it doesn't necessarily mean anything. I'm not really sure how much Zone has been playing part of it, and then Rh4kor as well could PB in the race too. So well, I'm interested to see what happens. I'm interested to see how prepared Zone is because I haven't really seen him online for a while. So.
And it looks like the race is underway. Here we go.
All right, starting off in 1-1, both going with the pipe rub strats. Very nice. Want to ensure no death here in the first level. Like to see that getting off to a good start, I think is really important in these races. So.
Yep, and both of them just getting through very standard 1-1, nice and clean, no trouble whatsoever.
I'll see if we can get some early P speed here in 1-2. It is sub-pixel dependent as well as, requires some pretty good execution. We see Zone get it, which is very nice there, well executed. Looks like, I think maybe Rh4kor slightly mis-executed at the beginning, but does get the later P speed and has some slip-ups at the end there, but he's off the level, so... All right, so the Fortress here, they are going to take the alternative exit here because it is faster than killing the Boom Boom, even though they're going to collect an item they're not going to be able to use throughout the run, or ideally do not want to use, and it's going to be kind of a landmine in their inventory for the rest of the run, but yeah, picking up the whistle here.
Yeah, you hope to see them avoiding any whistle usage during the run can really throw a wrench into your system. But they both got the leaf grab nicely and are moving into 1-5. Seeing some nice P speed from Zone here, and they're just cruising through these early levels.
Yeah, both having really good 1-5 here. No mistakes on either side. Using the damage boost, they're removing that tail. They did that on purpose. The tail, once you gain P speed and jump in the air, it's actually, there's a timer where you're going to lose the P speed, but that doesn't occur when you don't have a tail. So.
Yep, counterintuitively, although it's maybe the most popular casual item, the leaf is generally pretty slow in this game for speedrun purposes.
Yeah, there's really only a couple levels throughout the run where you'll see it be very useful, and when it is very, very useful. Alright, and it's looking like both, I think, fought the Hammer Bro after 1-6, and on the same square there, so they're going to be getting the same pattern here from the boss. For those of you that don't know, the boss pattern is determined from the time you complete the last level to the time you enter the fight on the airship.
And it looks like we have about a 5-second difference at this point. Zone with a small lead due to just slightly better execution in a couple of levels. But pretty close still.
Right. So yeah, both picking up Fire Flower from the airship here, which they're going to try to maintain for now a large majority of the game here. And And
ideally you're keeping this very fire flower for quite some time here into World 5 through World 5. So if you see them losing fire flower anytime in the next several worlds, it's going to be some kind of time loss.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, at the very least, they're going to want to maintain it through the first half of the game. You could get some route divergence in the second half of the game. I'm thinking we're probably not going to see that in this race, the World 5 P-Wing, but I could be surprised. We'll see.
And yeah, notably, no place to even get a fire flower in World 2 until the airship. So it is a real fire flower desert out here for the runners. Ooh, and we see Zone going Budsy percent in 2-1 and taking damage. So like I said, he's not going to get fire flower back for a while.
Yeah, the good news for him is it's not a huge deal in World 2. He's really just going to lose time in the fortress on the boom boom kill, but outside of that, it's not really necessary for the world. There are some slight like reduction strats you can do in like the pyramid that I don't know, you can get like an extra 10th maybe, but it's not such a big deal here. And yeah, so yeah, Rh4kor's gonna be picking up an extra 3 seconds here. Which he needs at this point. Assuming he keeps it. Now, maybe I just jinxed him and he loses here at the beginning. But we see Zone getting the early P-speed in the fort. Very nicely done. It is somewhat difficult, and we see Rh4kor struggle a little bit getting it there. Unfortunately, he's not even going to get the later P-speed because it happened in a particular way where his P-meter just would not rebuild, so...
Yeah, the way the P-meter builds in this game is somewhat counterintuitive, but it's just an intermittent check on speed. And so if you have to be very particular in this level to actually build the P-speed, it's a lot less forgiving than you might think.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. And there's a few different ways to do it. Some are faster, some are slower. So moving on to 2-3 here, looks like we're getting a green rocket out of Zone here, which is what I would expect from someone at his level. And we're going to see Rh4kor actually skip the green rocket, so we're going to see a bit of a difference here at the... Oh, that is not good.
Ooh, okay. He is going to have to go find another turtle in the level, which is also... Oh my gosh. It's just getting worse as time goes on.
Oh no, okay.
That is not what you like to see in 2-3. But he's just going ahead fighting the Hammer Brother here.
Yeah, he did get an early hammer out of it. So, okay, fair enough.
So, a pretty unconventional 1-death early hammer, but there you have it.
Oh no, he accidentally equipped the P-Wing. That is actually going to be okay. It's a decent item for this stage, and he should have opportunity to collect more later, but he definitely didn't want to do that. So...
Yeah, you mentioned route divergence a little bit earlier. We are going to see Rh4kor having to do some on-the-fly routing here with that item misuse, but also the early hammer routing changes things up a bit here as well.
Yeah, so he's actually going to save a ton of time with the early hammer. Even though he played a lot of that stage, he'll still save quite a bit of time. And it is technically the fastest way to complete World 2 and the game for this category, so that's why we're seeing him with such a significant lead. But it is going to come back quite a bit in World 4. He is going to have to play an extra stage there.
Yeah, and a stage that is not trivial by any means. The fort in World 4, hopefully he's ready for it. It's not necessarily a level people practice a lot if they aren't expecting to get early hammers, but it can be challenging. So I'll be very curious to see how he approaches it.
Yeah, that is a good point. My hope that in preparation for tournament races, people are practicing that stage, because there are other routes you could take that would also require you to play it. So, and you're definitely right. It's maybe the hardest stage to play in like a standard Warpless run. So, Yeah, it's be interesting to see how he does there. But as you can see, he did get his fire back here. So, very nice. And Zone's going to be picking his up shortly. And, see if they know their boss patterns here. So, yeah, he did get a 100% type pattern there, it looked like.
Yeah, it looked like he was shooting his fireballs maybe in preparation for a different pattern, but grabbing the flower affects the boss pattern as well because there is a time delay with the animation, so that can throw off people's expectations a little bit.
So yeah, the funny thing here is, you know, where I was talking at the outset about, you know, maybe Rh4kor can PB here, and I mean, he's definitely gonna be on PB pace after World 2, even with the miscues in 2-3 because of the early hammer. So we've got a pretty good run going here.
Yeah, if he can hold on to some of this time, he'll be in really good shape for the rest of the run. If he can just keep some of the early hammer benefit, he'll be doing very well.
And moving on to 3-1 here, one of the stages where, I mean, I think this is the easiest stage in the run, to be honest with you. Just kind of jump up to the top, you get P speed and jump over. There are some small things that can be tricky, like, you know, when you're jumping up off the top there, you know, getting the furthest possible jump and things like that. But these are kind of like, we're talking about the minutia here. And moving in the 3-2, he did attempt to get the early P speed there, which does save a pretty significant amount of time, but unfortunately did not quite get the arrow build he was looking for. But, you know, backup strats work nicely there.
And the fish cooperated with him nicely. The hitboxes on those fish are pretty notorious for not colliding with Mario's hitbox until they're inside Mario, and you can just take damage through really no fault of your own on that level from the fish. So, seeing another 3-2 early P-speed build, and a successful one this time.
Yeah, Zone getting a good build there, which you would expect for, again, someone with a low 51. You're probably going to see 3-2 P-speed. Meanwhile, Rh4kor still maintaining that one stage lead here. And Zone getting the earliest possible P-speed here in 3-3. So very, very small optimization thing there, but nicely done by him. So he probably, I don't know, you'd say approximately like 8 frames, I think, doing that.
He made me a little nervous with how he approached the turtle there, but he did. I'm not sure if that's how he always runs off that platform.
Yeah,
but it
was a little strange.
It was a little sketchy looking to me, but he got away with it, no problem.
So yeah, it's looking like the Hammer Bros are gonna cooperate for Rh4kor. That's actually really important since he did get an early hammer. He absolutely has to pick these up. And oh, a little bit of a miscue there, jumping into the Piranha Plant, but he will be able to re-grab this fire here. Very nice. And yeah, as you can see on Zone's side, he was in the same situation there, and opting to skip the Hammer Bro with the hammer for now, in order to guarantee that the star is not going to run away from him. So really heads up decision there coming out from Zone.
Yeah, it costs you a few seconds, but if that Hammer Brother does run away, it costs significantly more time than any map movements in this world are going to. And so he should be able to just go back now, no risk. You know, he headed him off at the pass, and it worked out pretty well.
Rh4kor? Alright, fair enough. Rh4kor. What about Metalcore? Making out a 3-8, no problem. Very important. We've seen runners take an unfortunate death there, and it pretty much ruins the race for him. So, yeah, really, really good to see people make it out and not get eaten here. And Zone looking like he's going to join him shortly. Meanwhile, we get the small H by Rh4kor. Very nice, very nice.
And you know, Zone playing well here, but is at the disadvantage of that early hammer situation. He's playing these levels very cleanly and having what I would call a pretty good race at this point. But it is he has a serious deficit to overcome because of the RNG factor in Rh4kor's favor.
Yeah, I think technically looking at where things are, they're about even. We'll see that even out in World 4, but Zone may actually even have a slight lead here because when you beat a fortress, there's this extra block breaking animation that occurs as well. So the transitions after those levels are a little longer, and we won't see that on Zone side in World 4. Both players maintaining the Fire Flower here to the World 3 airship. Really important here. It makes this kill much easier than stomping Wendy. Wendy is one of the rare bosses in the game whose projectiles they stay in the arena after she fires them. She can only fire 3 of them, but they do provide a significant obstacle for the player if you have to stomp. Now, since they're not going to be stomping her, she's actually not going to shoot any projectiles, so this should be a nice, easy kill for both of them. Or never mind, she shoots 1, but it doesn't matter. Yeah.
Well, and we see Rh4kor in chat mentioning they are indeed on PB pace, which is, you know, you love to see it in a race when someone is on a pacer like this.
Yeah. And it looks like there's about a 26-second difference according to True Hyper Mario entering the airship, which would make sense that they're basically even here when you account for the fortress in this next world. It's a rather short level if played optimally, but again, you have like the extra enter time loss and then exit time loss of the level 2 on top of playing it. Rh4kor actually got a 1 death early hammer, so no.
Oh yeah, very important to mention for those just joining us. So it was an unconventional 1 death early hammer, but quite some good luck there.
Yeah. You know, it was a disaster that turned into yeah, he planned that for sure. Looking real good there in 4-1, utilizing the shell strats there. That is one of the top strats in this level, and Zone going to do the same thing here. Did unfortunately touch the pipe there, but he must have made that mistake in the past because he did the exact right thing to fix it there, doing that turn back into the waterfall. Unfortunately, didn't quite get his speed back enough and kind of slipped up after that. I think he was potentially going to go over top of it, but yeah, unfortunately did not make the jump.
Being careful not to take damage here. World 4 is a world where losing fire can cost you a pretty good handful of seconds in the end. So I think, despite losing the P-speed, handled a difficult situation well and kept fire for the later levels.
Yeah, absolutely. And Rh4kor, a little bit of chest bump action into the blocks there, but recovers nicely. Always a little scary when that happens, but no big deal here.
Not an intended bump, and one that can make you pretty nervous when you're doing it.
So his Hammer Bro situation is a little scary here. Ideally, he wants it to move down to the Mushroom House and come back up after this fortress, and he is going to take the pipe here. So wants to maintain this Fire Flower. I don't blame him if he doesn't feel comfortable playing this fortress. So this is going to ensure that he keeps this coming out, which you had mentioned is a pretty significant time loss in World 3, or World 4, I mean. So
yeah, and he skipped a couple hallways there with some really narrow quarters with thwomps and hotfoots and enemies that are just really right in the way. So that is a pretty sensible safety route to take.
Yeah, absolutely. And looks like Zone had a little bit of trouble in 4-3 there, but didn't die. Kept this Fire Flower. He's good to go. He's gonna get the cloud here, which is nice. So he'll pick that up without too much issue here in World 4. And Rh4kor having some trouble with the spinies here. Is he gonna know where they're coming? Okay, he does avoid getting sniped here, so very nice.
Yeah, he wanted nothing to do with that Lakitu, but pretty safe swim, got out of there. As I say, unscathed. Zone takes damage from the Lakitu, which happens. It happens to the best.
So the Hammer Bros here, it's the Cloud and the P-Wing right next to each other. I anticipate, since Rh4kor had used that P-Wing earlier, he's going to take both of them here. But yeah, fair enough. Yep. Makes sense. So ideally he wants this star to move out of his way, but being that it's next to the P-Wing here, there's a good chance it's going to move into him. And sure enough it is, because it faced right, so...
Well, and so he picked up that P-Wing. Do you think we'll see him take the P-Wing from the Hammer Brother in World 5 as well? That would get him back to sort of a standard inventory for his route.
Yeah, that's a good point. You know, it depends on how comfortable he is at the end of World 6. You know, does he wall jump? I don't really know. Does he play 610? These are options too, so... But yeah, Zone, as you can see, already on the fortress here. So
yeah, Zone doing a good job of regaining the lead again.
Yeah, just really by nature of that extra level, right? Just as we can see how it flipped here. Not a huge difference between the two right now, though. And yeah, Zone also getting to skip the Hammer Bros here, so very nice.
So World 5 is where we would see the first real potential for route divergence. If either of them uses a P-Wing in 5-1, there's an item there that you can grab in an alternate exit. I don't know that we will see that. That is a little bit riskier in a race scenario, because then you have to do some extra clips or a wall jump that you might not really want to do in a race. But it is a possibility. I'm not sure if either of these racers normally would take that route at all.
I would imagine that Rh4kor probably has never attempted that route, and I would recommend, you know, just with this time not doing so, because it's really like something you do when you're going for low 51, sub 51. I know Zone is probably familiar with it, but again, being in a race setting, you know, a lot of people prefer the comfort of just having the Fire Flower through World 5. It simplifies what you're doing there. Plus, he's already got a lead, so that's a thing to consider. And it does seem like he is at least checking in on the progress in the race, just based on him commenting in chat. So. But yeah, that is a good point. If you know, he takes damage on Iggy, that could of course change things as well, as we saw earlier in the tournament with Teeks taking damage on Iggy, deciding to go with the P-Wing afterwards.
Yeah, and Iggy is a notorious scammer with a hitbox that is somewhat unclear to people. So that is a possibility as a backup, just because the odds of taking damage on Iggy are higher than for a lot of other fights.
Yeah, you know, just do the thing and don't make a mistake. It's totally fine, right? And you can see Zone taking that advice. He just, you know, he did the thing.
Yeah, very clean fire kill. The 148 is a nice, fast fire kill there.
Oh God. Okay. Yeah. Oh no, he's getting the jumps. Please. Okay.
Oh my gosh, you can see the problems that get caused when you let Iggy get out of your control. He will just leap and bounce all over the place.
Oh man. Rh4kor definitely getting the business there from Iggy. Yeah. Iggy notorious for jumping, and showing you that there, unfortunately.
And we do see Zone just proceeding through 5-1 normally and keeping Fireflower here.
Yeah, and as predicted, Rh4kor doing the same thing here is going to pick up that mushroom at the beginning. So there's a nice power up there for you if things do go wrong, like happened in the airship. So, oh, and it's gone. Does he know the backup? It seems like he does. The full jump, very good.
And meanwhile, Zone just kind of cruising through. 5-2 did not go down into the pit, which is always nice to see. Rh4kor taking a slightly safer drop in. Very reasonable, because going down that pit, you really have to play a whole level that you are essentially skipping otherwise, and it's very, very slow.
Yeah, and as small Mario too, it it doesn't change things much, but it just a tinge, just a tinge there. So yeah, and that could be just as normal strat too, because the moving back and forth and jumping up and skipping a level of blocks is something that really top runners do. So
yeah, it's more challenging, and it really saves perhaps a second at best, I think. So
yeah,
it is totally reasonable to not do that.
So yeah, I mean, he's more focused on maintaining his good pace here, which he has a really good pace going. And meanwhile, Zone going into the tower here. This is actually an elongated pipe transition. So, and how you can tell is the Hammer Bros will not move after he completes it. So normally for a stage or anything else, they would.
And we see Rh4kor putting the Hammer Brothers to sleep, so he is not getting the P-Wing here that he misused in an earlier level. And I believe I saw someone in chat say they believe Rh4kor is going to wall jump 6-9 based on what they've seen before. So avoiding the extra fight and just going to be relying on some precision jumping to get through 6-9.
Yeah, that's correct. Based on what I saw, it seems like he must normally P-Wing 7-9, so I'm assuming he's going to forgo that instead. And yeah, Zone making out a 5-4, kind of a scary looking stage here. But if you know the jumps, it's not a particularly difficult one. On the other token, 5-5 is one of those, and that leaf grab was intentional here. He's gonna use that as a damage boost in 5-7 to regain that fire he just lost. So, but for Rh4kor, he is going to be able to pick up some power-ups here, which he really wants. He's been struggling to get them since the beginning of this world. So, and sure enough, Zone. Nice backup fire there. Oh, does jump late and loses it. Man, he's having some trouble here keeping the fire, but he's gonna make it out of the stage, so it's all good.
Yeah, and I think, both runners showing they are prepared for some backup strats here. They know when and where to grab these items. Unfortunate that we are seeing them, but it is good to see the runners are ready for these types of scenarios in their prep.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely not surprised that Zone's ready. He's done a lot of racing in the past, so he's probably made a lot of these mistakes. And
taking damage again, unfortunately.
Yeah, he got a little close to the dry bones before the pipe. It doesn't always spawn, but unfortunately for him, did spawn there, and he got a little too close. And
oh.
Yeah, I don't think he was intending to side jump off of the dry bones that he did, so he got a little extra air that he was not anticipating. And
yeah, beyond the strats just being slightly different, the risk of being small Mario in a level like this is just that these Potoboos are pretty random and can take you out with one hit. So powering back up and hopefully just gonna play it smart, play it safe, and get out of the level.
He was trying to do the swag pipe entry. Yeah, kind of finding out there the hard way that the power blocks in 5F2 are actually kind of a scam. Usually the best way to approach the stage if something like that happens is you just do it normally, small, and because yeah, as long as you stay ahead of the Potaboos, they don't provide much of an obstacle for you.
And Zone not going to be able to fire kill here. Just going to get back to Big Mario with this mushroom pickup. But that death really did extend the lead quite a bit. So we're going to see Zone moving into the end of this airship with a pretty sizable chunk of time in his favor.
Yeah, Zone, unfortunately, having some trouble with Fire Flower in World 5 here, so not going to have that for that fight, or this fight, not a big deal. He's, I'd say he's much easier to stomp anyway. Will come into play a little bit in World 6, because if he gets a lower burrow pattern, it can be a little sketchier as Big Mario, and he's also going to have to do some backup strats in 6F1, so...
Yeah, in 6F1, I fully anticipate we'll see him grabbing a leaf early in the level to be able to damage boost, and at that point, after grabbing the leaf and damage boosting, he'll be back on track with his power-up situation, because you intend to leave that level small. So it's a little bit of time to grab the leaf and reorient yourself, but after that point, he should be good to go again.
So yeah, either runner looking like they have to worry about coin chips, which is good, because you cannot adjust your points or coins here at the end of World 5 and the beginning of World 6, and he does get the low pattern and goes for it and gets the kill. Very fast movement there.
Yeah, very, very clean, very aggressive Hammer Brother kill. You got to be confident in what you're doing to pull that one off.
Yeah, that was quite a bit of a risk, too, because if he loses that mushroom, it affects his ability to damage boost here, so... And yeah, just going to let the elevator leave him there, just so he gets a nice guaranteed damage boost jump up here.
Yeah, you can beat that elevator over there, but if you attempt to and fail, you're in all likelihood headed straight down to the lava below, so... I think in a race where he knows he's got a little bit of a lead, very sensible, moment of pausing there.
Yeah, definitely. Rh4kor taking an extra moment there, making sure he gets the inventory right, which is good. You like to see that in a race. He doesn't want to see another repeat of World 2 P-Wing there. So, very well done. Meanwhile, Zone attempting to get the early P-Speed in 6-4. Kind of looks like he got scammed there a little bit from my perspective. It looked like he had done everything correctly. But unfortunately, it seems like he has the wrong subpixel.
Yeah, my understanding is that P-Speed is slightly random in terms of whether you get it on one particular frame or the other. So you can do everything right and just not be rewarded.
Has a pretty nice 6-5 there, gets the despawn through the stage, doesn't lose the tail, which is going to become really important here coming up for the Fortress, but also nice to have for the Hammer Bro fight too, which, and kindly moves to a tile he needs to go to anyway.
Yeah, and able to skip the other Hammer Brother, which just has a star that doesn't have very much utility for you at this point in the run. So you really want to avoid the Hammer Brother that's left on the map there. So some pretty good luck on the movements.
And yeah, we saw Rh4kor going over the top rope there in 6-4 at the end. Kind of a smart decision. May have been overlooked by some people, but since he did bump the block there, he was kind of at risk of that windmill at the end, so doing a nice little adjustment there. And does not get the despawn, unfortunately, so he's going to have to utilize the Koopa Shell here. And does so really, really nicely.
And we see Zone just kind of continuing on pace, having a pretty good World 6 at this point. Who does not get the capital H, but is able to get through pretty quickly and just going to damage boost and get out of the level as fast as possible.
Yeah, I'm thinking that looked intentional with the damage boost. I'm thinking we're going to see some wall jump action.
Oh, and we've got Rh4kor picking up a hammer suit from the Mushroom House. A little bit of a security blanket type of play where you know that no matter what, you're going to go in powered up to Bowser's Castle.
And Zone getting the wall jump second try, meanwhile. While Rh4kor, unfortunately, having to fight both the bros because they moved into him here. But yeah, on the first attempt, Zone had bumped the block, which seems to be a cardinal sin in that stage. I don't know. Every time I bump that block, I never get a chance to wall jump, kind of like what happened to him there. So.
And heading through the fortress here as Small Mario, which it can be a little hair-raising. So there's some pretty tight corners you're running and jumping through there, but he's handling it well and makes it to the Boom Boom Room without incident.
No sliders. All right, looks like we're good. All right, and we'll see what Rh4kor is going to do here at the end of World 6, and unfortunately missing the block there a little bit, but does go back, re-grabs it. He is going to need that to get this P speed at the beginning here, and I'm thinking we're going to see a damage boost, sure enough, and we're going to see a wall jump attempt coming out from him as well. I've been told it is free, so we should be seeing one first try.
Zone made it look pretty easy there, just 2 attempts and away you go, so how hard can it be?
Doing the turn back strats, got the sub pixel there twice in a row. Unfortunately, missing it. Gets a third try, and not too bad.
Third time's the charm. Yeah, three is really not too bad in a race. I mean, obviously you'd like to get it first, but 3 is no disaster.
Meanwhile, Zone not getting first class there because he is Small Mario, but he did get the wall jump off of it if people notice closely. So kind of similar there. I think he deserves at least some sort of good food reward for that. I don't know if Budsy has something for him for hitting that or not.
Oh, probably an extra bag of pretzels, has his name all over it.
No sliders? All right, no sliders. Very good, very good. And we'll see what kind of manipulation Zone does. Looking like he's going for the standing clip. It looked, unless his left press was really large there, it looks like he's set up well for a standing clip.
Yeah, that little tap, that's promising. You never know for certain if you have gotten it, but yeah, it looked okay from this vantage point. And he is the entirety of the World 6 airship ahead now, so a pretty sizable lead has developed.
Yeah, he, outside of not keeping the fire in World 5, he really hasn't had too many mix-ups here, and unfortunately does jump a frame early here, going for the clip, so is not going to get it there. I think that's 4 or 5 attempts. 5 or 6 there. Oh. Froze for me for a second.
Oh, he's having a little trouble here, jumping early sometimes. He's got to zero in on that corner and get in there.
Yeah, that was a good attempt. That was a good attempt. That was a good attempt. Getting unlucky here. That was a good attempt. Okay.
All right, so we made it through. I'm going to be honest, I lost count. I don't know if anybody in chat is able to count that high. Oh, 14. Okay, 14 attempts. So that's a chunk of time. If Rh4kor can clip in fewer than 14 attempts, he could save potentially quite a bit of time.
Yeah, I mean, we already see, he caught up by close to half an airship here. So, and Zone Mistiming the jump there, taking some damage.
This is a very difficult situation to be in this level. You haven't got P speed. Looks like he's going to go dev intended route to get out of the level.
Yeah, I think that's the right choice at this point. Oh, doesn't go for the clip there. Koopa is kind of getting in his way. I think he was just trying to do one attempt at it.
Yeah, that's an interesting attempt. You don't see people trying that clip all that often.
Yeah, this is a chance for Rh4kor to get right back in this race, so we'll see how the clip goes here. And looks like he jumped a frame late there, and that one's a frame early. That one's a frame early. That one was good. That one's late. Early. He's got to find the timing. There we go. Second try when we found the timing.
I counted 8, so he may have picked up, as much as 10 seconds or even a little more than that there.
Yeah, and he can pick up a lot more here in 7-2 with a good stage.
And Zone entering what is really one of the easier stretches of the Warpless run. 7-3 is pretty straightforward, and you'll see him P-winging a couple of stages here in a moment. And then the rubber will hit the road in 7-8, where the difficulty spikes back up pretty considerably.
Yeah, definitely. Both runners having a bit of mishap here in 7-2, but less for Rh4kor here. So he is going to pick up some good time. No triple, no triple. Nice. Okay. Meanwhile, Zone utilizing one of those P-wings that he collected from earlier in the game. Gonna fly straight to the end here in the fortress. Gonna skip the Tanuki suit, which is significantly slower. And yeah, here's the stage, and the stage is already done.
Rh4kor going through 7-3 is 7-3 is a little bit scarier small, but in some ways also a little bit easier small. So I think, he got through it without too much difficulty. And we just see him, he's definitely closed the gap a little bit.
Yeah, he's 2 kind of short stages behind, so. Yeah, having to figure out his inventory situation. It is a little strange for him. He will have another P-wing at the end of his... Oh, and Zone taking a spill in 7-8. That does happen, unfortunately. Is going to utilize the P-wing here, because he did have an extra P-wing. So, I'm wondering if he ideally wanted to save that. And, okay. I was a little scared there for him.
My supposition was that he was going to play 7-9 with the P-wing, so his routing is definitely a little bit different than what he had thought now. But we see him grabbing the hammer suit now, which I don't think he was going to do given that extra P-wing.
Yeah, it's hard to say. I think he usually grabs the hammer suit, but maybe he was going to forgo it in this race because of the lead situation, and who knows. But he does make it out second try, so he does pick up the hammer suit. And as you mentioned earlier, Rh4kor going to try to keep this tail, it looks like here, for 7-9, being that he doesn't have the P-wing that he normally would have for the stage. So if he does this correctly, he should be able... Oh, never mind. And it's gone. It's not a big deal, but now
I think. Ooh, those nippers at the end shooting fireballs, somewhat randomly, if you're not on your expected pace, can be very, very treacherous. So he got out of there without dying, which is a success.
And Zone getting scammed by Baby Jail here had some decent clips to that point. Oh my goodness, Rh4kor playing with. Fire there without having fire, because if he had fire, that would have been a lot less scary, but yeah. Power up there.
Little sweaty with the star grab there and the fort for Zone, but he does get it. Playing it pretty safe here, just trying to get through the fortress with no damage.
Yeah, Rh4kor, for going power grabs there, I'm assuming he's going to cloud 7F2 here. And sure enough, it's coming out. So, you know, technically still a stage behind because Zone does have that cloud that he can use in World 8. But, you know, there are things that can happen in World 8 that can overcome that.
Yeah, absolutely. The ideal situation for Zone, though, is going to be to just hold Hammersuit and cloud over the fortress in World 8. It's the longest cloudable level in the world. But you know, if a lot, as you say, a lot of things can happen. So he may have to cloud in a different location, but that would be his current game plan at this point. And just with the slight lead in real time, that cloud means that that lead is even more significant.
Yeah. Yeah, any damage he takes is going to lose him approximately 20 seconds, because if he does take damage, he's likely going to have to you know, regrab fire in the fort, you know, depending on where it is, of course. You know, if he took damage before 8-1, it's kind of okay, because he can regrab fire in there and kind of continue his normal route. But yeah, if it happens after that fire flower, then it gets a little hairy.
Yep, and it's still, you know, for all the lead and route differences, there is still the hands to contend with, and these runners are close enough that hands could be a determining factor in the outcome of the race.
Yeah, that's a good point. Zone having, I think, slightly under a 2-hand lead here. So, you know, if Rh4kor gets none and he gets 2, then all of a sudden it doesn't really matter what Zone does. It matters what happens on Rh4kor's side. So.
Yeah, and I think given everything that has happened with the early hammer and the deaths, seeing this race still being this close is pretty interesting. It's pretty compelling watch.
Yeah, definitely. Rh4kor losing the fire there. Gonna lose a little bit more time here going into World 8, but we'll have the opportunity to regrab it in the Navy if he so chooses. And then after that, if he decides to skip that, there is, of course, the one in 8-1 and then one at 8 fort. So not a huge deal for him to lose his power, because he didn't invest that extra time going for the Hammersuit, for instance. Which, actually, he's got a Hammersuit in his inventory, so that doesn't even matter. He doesn't need it.
Yeah, his inventory, you know, he could save a few seconds getting fire, but him ending any particular level in fire is not as consequential to the route as it might be if he didn't have that Hammersuit. We see both players riding some tanks. Here we go.
Yeah, pretty much in the exact same spot, too, which from a viewing standpoint is nice. Unfortunately for us, from a viewing standpoint, the beginning of World 8, well, actually the end of World 7 into really the halfway point of World 8, there isn't much going on. It's a lot of auto-scrollers. It's probably like 5 or 6 minutes worth of not really playing much of the game, unfortunately. So while this, you know, poses a major challenge for the average person, for a speedrunner, they've seen these stages a lot of times and know exactly what's coming up next.
Yeah, I was going to say, for just, you know, a regular gamer seeing these levels for the first time, they would be a pretty epic finale. For someone who's probably beaten them, you know, hundreds of times, they do not pose much of a risk, aside from that sometimes runners will get a little bored and start squirreling around in these levels and make them more difficult than they need to be.
Or, you know, you'll zone out and, yeah, and all of a sudden you're getting hit by a cannonball.
Oh yeah, definitely have felt that myself.
Both getting the worst pattern possible there.
And let's see if we see a Navy grab. I'm excited.
It looks like we're getting a Navy grab, based on how he's playing. Looking good. Oh, come on! Ah. All right, so I
he
think
must have just been frames slow there to not get it.
what I think actually happened is he was holding left when he snuck in because he didn't slide in. So unfortunately, when you hit the ground and you're holding either in the game, recognizes either a left or right input, you instantly stand up. So didn't get the extra slide in there.
So he'll have opportunities to get Flower again. It does lose a little bit of time in the upcoming Boom Boom fights. But potentially, he could get Fire in hand 3 if he happens to get hand 3. Or, 8-1 in the Fortress are both options. But he also might not be that worried. He might not be that worried about it.
Yeah, he doesn't need it because he does have the Hammer Suit in his inventory, so... Alright, so... The hardest jump in the game gets a little scarier for him here. Good timing there. Makes it in the pipe. No one's ever lost a sub 51 pace. And gets a slider as well! I was talking about it earlier, and there it is. You gotta worry about that slider.
Oh, those slidey boom booms get really squirrely sometimes.
It's always when you're small, too. Every time. Someone getting hand 1.
Ooh, and Rh4kor getting hand 2. So this could be interesting.
Yeah, and I don't think it's so bad for him to get a hand here, considering he's small. He is going to be able to pick up a leaf that he can then equip going into the Air Force. And Zone getting the second hand. Oh, no.
Oh,
right.
This has really just spiced things up a little bit here. Narrows the gap considerably in this situation.
Yes. If he gets a third hand, then yeah, it's pretty much a dead heat. Okay, does skip the third hand. He still has a bit of a lead here. It doesn't look like it, but trust me, assuming everything goes right in the dark screen, he's going to pick this time back up.
Yeah, he will almost certainly skip one level. Ideally, like we said, the Fortress, but I think we will see him using the Cloud almost regardless of what happens.
Rh4kor is, he's scaring me here. I think he was scared of getting a slider here. Oh no, Zone taking damage! Okay, he's got to get the fire now in 8-1 to keep his route intact.
Yeah, this has really, really tightened things up. I think we'll have to see after the levels just how tight it is, but it is much closer than it looks.
Yeah, I think Zone should still have about a 10 to 15 second lead.
Rh4kor doing a very nice small Mario 8-1. Yeah. I mean, very impressive to have the composure to get through the level quickly like that. I would guess he's going to take the sand in the next level, but I'm not sure.
He is not taking
the sand.
He sees his opportunity to win the race, so the one thing I know is Zone did skip the fire, so he's going to have to Cloud 8-2 here. Oh!
Ooh.
So, one thing to consider is he does have to make it out of this fortress without taking death too, and he also has to keep this fire. So, really huge stage coming out from Zone here. Yeah, it doesn't go for the early P speed, and I do not blame him.
And Rh4kor not powering up, interestingly, just getting out of the level a little faster and foregoing the mushroom.
Yeah, I think it would have made sense for him to grab the mushroom in this scenario because he doesn't have the extra inventory here. So he's going to have to take a power-up in the fortress, but if he wants fire, he's going to have to actually go back for a double helping, which is much slower than if he would just grab that mushroom there.
But with the hammer suit in the inventory, we may see him just, yeah, he's bypassing it. I think he's just going to leave big.
Oh, man. dark screen, making things real interesting for this one. So Zone's still not out of the woods yet. He does have a good lead here going into Bowser's castle, but this can easily turn if he takes damage.
Yeah, and Rh4kor will have, assuming he keeps the hammer suit, a faster kill on Bowser. But without a mistake from Zone's part, it is not enough to make up the time difference that currently exists. But there is, Bowser's castle is not entirely free.
No. Yeah, Zone may have enough of a lead at this point that damage won't turn it, but it's really close. It's really, really close. So, but yeah, if he's able to just get a normal fire kill here, he's gonna make it out of here. A death, I think, swings things the other way as well.
And here he is.
Yeah. Going for the clip. Surprised he went for the clip there.
Yeah, not really necessary in this situation, but I guess, just for funsies, sometimes you want to throw that in. Keeps P-Speed nicely. Ooh, a little bonk there, but he rebuilds it and gets the all-important duck jump over the lava. It's just Bowser now.
And is going to make it out here. So, Zone going to make it out with a win. A very hotly contested one, though.
A lot of wild swings in this race. Stuff that we are not going to see all the time, that's for sure.
Yeah, really, really competitive race there. He does get the swag clip as well entering the door, so extra points for that. See how things go for Rh4kor here.
Yep, hoping for a strong finish from Rh4kor. Ooh, also loses and rebuilds P-Speed. Ooh, and
no!
dunks into the marinara like an Italian breadstick. Mini death spiral here, sad to say. Let's see. He looks determined to finish the race. But Small Mario is not what you want to be in this level.
No, absolutely not. Yeah, unfortunately, the end time is not going to be representative of how contested this race actually was, so... We're probably going to see some hug strats here.
Oh yeah, he'll be cozying right up to Bowser. I'm certain he knows how to handle this situation, but it is significantly slower than what he was planning on. Bowser showing off his peculiarly designed hitbox here. No collision in the lower half of Bowser for some reason.
Yeah, it doesn't provide much of a challenge here at the end of the game. And yeah, really good positioning by him there, getting Bowser to turn the correct direction while not moving too far that he makes himself vulnerable to the fireballs. It's a really important thing to understand, and he's going to make it out of here. So, according to race time, the official times were 55:29 for Zone and 57:41 for Rh4kor. GG to both here.
Yeah, GG's runners. That was a really exciting race. A lot of drama, things moving back and forth all the time. And as you mentioned, Haxer, that end time really doesn't show you how tight of a race it was for the majority of it.
Yeah, all the way to the end, it was, going into the dark area, it was definitely anybody's race. So, speaking of our runners here, Rh4kor has joined us for an interview. I think Zone had mentioned he will not be able to do so, but yeah, welcome in. How you doing?
Hi.
How many heart attacks did you have on that one?
No, I didn't have any heart attacks actually. It was just I wanted to do more D-Rust thing that I did.
Okay, fair enough.
Well, the death at the end, I was like, oh, okay, I don't have P-Speed, and then I regained it at the last moment. I was like, no, go away.
Yeah. I saw that. I was like, oh, I don't think he wants this actually. That was the one thing. That's the worry when you kind of bump that ceiling is you have enough P meter where you'll get it back if you run at the bottom there, and you unfortunately did get it back when you didn't want it.
Yeah, it was.
But yeah, can we talk about 2-3? I mean, what was that intentional?
I saw the bro, and I knew it was a hammer, but I was like, yeah, this is a race. I don't go for one death early hammer. And then that I killed both shells at the end was just brain AFK, I think. And then I died and was like, yeah, well, maybe the bro, maybe.
Yeah, see, I was thinking you knew the RNG pattern. You're like, if I die right at this time, that was all planned. I think going in the level personally, you can't fool me. I know what I saw. But yeah, that was really funny to see it. It really shifted the race in your direction from it looked really bad, and I was like, oh no, this is really good actually.
Well, and I also had a question. You also shortly thereafter used a P-wing, which was, I am assuming, not your intended strat, but how did that affect your routing and what you decided to do later in the game? We were speculating what the P-wing usage might have looked like, and then you ended up having to obviously make some choices on the fly there.
No, so the wall jump is always an option for me. So, I knew I can get the P-wing back in World 4. So
Were
first
you?
I didn't use it on purpose, of course. Like, why?
We were curious if you were planning on P-winging 7-9, if that was something your route might have included, or was you were going to do that instead of wall jumping, perhaps?
No, I always wall jump. Only if I. No, wait. I always wall jump. I rather do 7-9 than not wall jumping. Wait.
Okay.
No, wait. I'd rather do 7-9 than wall jump. Like. No, wait. English.
You rather P-wing 7-9 than.
I used the P-wing in 7-9 and never in 6-9. 6-9.
Yeah, you kind of had a spicy dodge in 7-9. It looked like you just weren't used to not having a P-wing there. You jumped up and that one Paragoomba was right on you.
Nah, that a long time. I don't know when I was in that level without something that can fly. So I was a bit like, ooh, there's a Paragoomba.
Well, you overcame some really unusual stuff in the run. Were you watching? Were you aware of how close the run actually was after so many random things happened? You guys were surprisingly close for the majority of it.
I watched in the castle cutscenes sometimes.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, because I did see both of you were chatting
But-
at points
But
during the
it
run,
didn't.
so-
But it didn't affect my choices. Like,
Okay.
I always play safe, or like I just do what I would have done in a run as well. So
Sure.
I didn't do anything only cause I was close or in the lead for a second.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, it's important to just stick with what you've practiced and play the way you know.
Yeah,
Can we-
that's the problem. I didn't really learn the fire kill on Iggy, but I went for it.
Okay. You
So-
did well. It looked like you knew what you were getting there.
Yeah, I
because,
did practice
yeah.
them, and I knew what pattern I get. Like, it, of course, was Hando pattern, but I miscalculated something there. So, oops.
I think it was just like I think you missed a fireball or something because you were one short. You hit
Yeah,
him
I
with
think
mine.
so too.
Yeah. Okay. Can we talk about skipping the Sands of Champions at the end of the game?
Yeah, I
and
don't
then
know why I
going
did
back
that.
for the Sands of Champions at the end of the game.
Yeah, I don't
Let's
know
talk
why.
a little bit about that.
Yeah, I don't. I was like, yeah, okay. So smart, safe choice would be do the sands, but I was like, I did this level multiple times without dying, and I just jumped too late or too early for the plan to shoot up. So
Yeah,
it shoot
yeah.
down, and I was like, well, fuck, and I landed in it.
Yeah, it's a really tough stage, Small. It just because you're right. You get stuck on that hill. There's fireballs everywhere. The sun's spinning around. Yeah, it's a rough one. So yeah, any thoughts? Any other thoughts on the race? Anything you wanted to point out that you thought was interesting that happened to you during it?
My World 3 was pretty good for my standards.
Yeah.
Well, World 5 already started with a disaster because I had no fire flower. Oh, and I hate the last fort in World 5, Fort F2, I think.
Yeah.
I hate that fort always, and I always forgot what I need to do, and the chance that I die there is really high.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
It's a level that can be deceptively difficult, and I have had the same issue where there's only a couple of jumps, but you can get mixed up on which jump is which sometimes. And it seemed like, I think Haxer mentioned that you side jumped off the dry bones there, so did you get a different jump than you were expecting, or did you just kind of forget what you were doing in the level?
In the fort,
Yeah, in 542.
I was just forgetting what I'm doing. I was so confused, like in general. But yeah, if you said what you said, I hit the dry bone, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so that probably confused me.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
I can look in my VOD if I find it, but probably that. Oh, I found it.
All right.
See.
We have the matchups for the next round, by the way. So I just want to let you know who you're going to be playing here. So.
Ooh, excellent.
Yeah.
I hope
so
someone
you will
that
be
is
playing
not again.
Cookie Wise,
Okay.
and Spicy, who's also in the call, is getting a tough one in Chuck. So you'll be racing Chuck, who I think is still undefeated.
Yeah, that's man, that's an unfortunate draw to be pulling from the undefeated part of the bracket, but okay.
Yep. And then it looks like Zone will be playing Health. So yeah, some good matchups there. Some other
Really
notable ones. Yeah, Sakali and Lane, two heavy hitters there. Teeks and Mondi, two other heavy hitters. JT Knott, Stewie Cartman, a HUD classic, if you will.
That's a classic, yeah.
So,
Gonna be some great matchups in the next round here.
So yeah, with all that being said, any final thoughts from either of you two?
I had fun playing the game again. It's always nice doing full runs.
Yeah. Well, it was a pleasure watching this one. It was very entertaining, and wish you the best of luck moving forward.
Yeah, it was. It was really exciting, back and forth. A lot of crazy stuff happened, but it was a very entertaining watch. So thank you guys for participating in the tournament and putting on a great show. Thank you, Haxer, for the co-commentary. Wonderful time here, and of course, thanks to the race fans out there watching the races. I mean, this is really, for the benefit of the community, to make sure everybody's having a good time and has some entertainment. So, well done, everybody.
Absolutely. Have a Great rest of your afternoon.
Yeah, you too.
Or evening for those of you
Yeah, it's evening.
in Europe, so.
Bye.
Bye.